Hey everyone, I never thought I'd be here, but I really need some advice. My name is John, and I'm a 36-year-old guy who's been married to my wife, Emily, for 8 years. We have 2 kids, Noah 6 and Lily 4. Up until recently, I thought we had a pretty solid relationship. Sure, we've had our ups and downs, but who doesn't? Lately, though, things have been off. Emily's been acting really strange, more distant, always on her phone and going out with friends a lot more than usual. At first, I brushed it off as her needing some space or wanting to catch up with her old friends. But then, small things started piling up. She'd come home late and smelled like someone else's cologne, or she'd have new clothes that I definitely hadn't seen before. I convinced myself I was just being paranoid. After all, we'd been together for so long, and she had never given me a reason to doubt her before. But now I'm not so sure, and the way things unfolded has left me questioning everything. We used to share everything, our dreams, our fears, our plans for the future. But recently, she's become a stranger. Conversations that once flowed easily now feel forced. She laughs less, and her eyes don't meet mine the way they used to. The intimacy that was the cornerstone of our relationship has been replaced by a cold distance that I can't seem to bridge. I'll break down what happened in more detail, but let's just say it all started to make sense when I received a strange call from one of Emily's friends demanding a meeting. So, back to that strange call. It was from Jessica, one of Emily's so-called friends. She sounded urgent, almost frantic, and said we needed to meet up immediately. My gut told me something was off. Why would Jessica, who I barely knew, be so insistent on meeting me alone? I knew that if I went to the designated place, my car would be blocked and I would have no chance of getting out easily. So I arranged the meeting at a location convenient for me, hid my car, reloaded my gun for protection, given the escalating tension, and walked into the room. When I got there, Jessica was already waiting. She looked nervous, kept glancing around like she was scared someone would see her. She started talking, saying things that didn't make much sense at first, but then it clicked. She was trying to warn me. She said that Emily had been seeing another man for months now and that she couldn't keep quiet anymore. I felt a mix of disbelief and anger. This had to be a mistake, right? Emily wouldn't do this to me, to our kids. But Jessica pulled out her phone and showed me messages, pictures, and even a couple of videos. There was no denying it. Emily was cheating on me with some guy named Mark, who, from the pictures, looked like he was barely out of college. My heart sank as I scrolled through the evidence. It wasn't just casual encounters. There were love notes and plans for the future that didn't include me or our kids. The depth of her deception was overwhelming. How long had this been going on? Why hadn't I seen the signs sooner? And more importantly, what the hell was I going to do now? Jessica said she felt guilty for not coming forward sooner and that she couldn't keep living with the secret. She also warned me that Emily and Mark were planning something that might involve taking our kids away. That was the final straw. I had to confront Emily and get to the bottom of this, no matter how painful it would be. After leaving the meeting with Jessica, I drove around aimlessly for a while, trying to wrap my head around everything. It felt like a bomb had exploded in my life. Eventually, I headed home, not really knowing how I was going to face Emily, but knowing it had to be done. When I got home, Emily was in the living room casually watching TV like everything was perfectly normal. The sight of her acting so carefree infuriated me. I took a deep breath, trying to keep my composure. "Emily, we need to talk," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. She looked at me, mildly annoyed, and sighed. "Can't it wait?" "I'm watching something." "No, it can't," I replied, my voice firmer now. "I know about you and Mark." Her face changed instantly. She looked stunned for a second, then quickly masked it with a smirk. "Oh, John, don't be ridiculous." "I'm not being ridiculous. Jessica told me everything. I've seen the messages and the photos," I said, my anger boiling over. She stood up, her expression shifting to one of defiance. "So what if I have been seeing someone else? You haven't exactly been Prince Charming yourself." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She was actually trying to justify her betrayal by blaming me. "Are you serious right now? You're the one who cheated, and you're trying to turn this on me?" Emily rolled her eyes and crossed her arms. "Look, John, things haven't been great between us for a while. Maybe if you paid more attention to me instead of your job, this wouldn't have happened." Her words felt like knives. It was clear she felt no remorse for what she'd done. "You could have talked to me, Emily. We could have worked on things. but you chose to sneak around behind my back. That's unforgivable." She shrugged as if it was no big deal. "Maybe, but it's done now. What are you going to do about it?" I stood there, stunned by her coldness. This was not the woman I married. Her complete lack of guilt or empathy was shocking. "This isn't just about us, Emily. It's about Noah and Lily. They need stability and parents they can trust." Her eyes flickered with annoyance. "Oh, please, spare me the righteous speech. We both know you care more about your job than your family." I took a deep breath, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. "I'm filing for divorce, Emily, and I'm going to fight for full custody of the kids. They deserve better than this toxic environment." She laughed bitterly. "Good luck with that. You're not taking my kids away from me." I stood my ground, refusing to be baited into another argument. "Emily, this isn't just about us. It's about what's best for Noah and Lily. They need stability, and they need parents who are honest and present in their lives." She rolled her eyes and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was ready to fight for my kids and for a better future without the constant lies and betrayal. The confrontation with Emily left me feeling hollow. I had always prided myself on being strong, but this betrayal hit me harder than anything else ever had. I went to our bedroom, closed the door, and just sat on the bed staring at the walls. The house felt different now, cold, unfamiliar, like I didn't belong there anymore. I replayed the last few months in my head, all the little signs I had ignored or brushed off. The late-night work meetings, the sudden interest in going to the gym, the constant texting. How could I have been so blind? The realization that she had not only betrayed me but also planned to possibly take our kids away was devastating. I felt a mixture of rage, sadness, and utter helplessness. Over the next few days, I went through a roller coaster of emotions. At times, I was consumed by anger, wanting to confront Emily again, to shout at her and make her feel the pain she had inflicted on me. Other times, I felt deep sadness, mourning the loss of the relationship I thought we had and the future we had planned together. I worried about Noah and Lily, about how this would affect them and how I could protect them from the fallout. Emily, on the other hand, seemed completely unfazed. She continued with her life as if nothing had happened, barely acknowledging my presence. She would make snide comments about me being dramatic or accuse me of overreacting. It was like living with a stranger, a heartless, deceitful stranger. One night, after putting the kids to bed, I sat alone in the living room trying to figure out my next steps. I knew I had to do something, but I felt paralyzed by the enormity of the situation. Divorce, custody battle, trying to work things out. Each option seemed more daunting than the last. In the midst of this turmoil, I decided to take a step back and focus on what mattered most. My kids. They were my anchor, my reason to keep going. I needed to be strong for them, to ensure they felt loved and secure despite the chaos around us. I started documenting everything: texts, photos, any evidence I could gather. I contacted a lawyer to understand my options and started planning for the worst while hoping for the best. It was clear that Emily had no intention of reconciling or even admitting her mistakes, so I had to be prepared for whatever came next. Talking to my lawyer, Susan, was a turning point. She was understanding and supportive, guiding me through the legal labyrinth with patience and clarity. She reassured me that I was doing the right thing for my children, which gave me the strength to proceed. The kids sensed the tension, though. Noah asked, "Daddy, why are you and Mommy fighting so much?" I tried to shield them from the worst of it, but they were smart and perceptive. "Noah, Lily," I said gently, "sometimes grown-ups have big problems they need to figure out. But I want you to know that both Mommy and I love you very much. We're going to make sure everything is okay." Their innocent eyes searched mine for reassurance, and I hugged them tightly, feeling a mix of love and sorrow. I was doing my best to shield them from the storm that was brewing. With everything documented and legal advice in hand, I felt a bit more prepared to handle the situation. The next step was figuring out the logistics of moving forward, especially concerning Noah and Lily. They deserved stability and love, and I was determined to provide that, regardless of how Emily decided to behave. One evening, while Emily was out likely with Mark, I sat down with the kids for a heart-to-heart. I didn't want to overwhelm them with details they couldn't understand, but I needed them to know that I would always be there for them. Noah, Lily, I want to talk to you about something important, I began, trying to keep my voice steady. Mommy and Daddy are going through a tough time right now. But I want you to know that we both love you very much and we're going to make sure everything is okay. Noah, always the inquisitive one, asked, "Are you and Mommy mad at each other?" I hesitated, then replied, "Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements, but it's not your fault. We both love you, and that's what matters most." They seemed to accept this explanation, though I could tell Noah was still worried. I hugged them both tightly, feeling a mix of love and sorrow. I was doing my best to shield them from the storm that was brewing. That night, I made a decision. I would file for divorce and seek full custody of the kids. Emily's betrayal and her callous attitude toward our marriage left me with no choice. She had proven that she couldn't be trusted, and I couldn't risk her unstable behavior affecting Noah and Lily any more than it already had. The next day, I met with my lawyer, Susan, to discuss the details. She was understanding and supportive, guiding me through the process step by step. We filed the paperwork and I started the process of moving out. I found a small apartment nearby, ensuring that it was still close enough for the kids to maintain some sense of normalcy. When I told Emily about my decision, she laughed bitterly. "Good luck with that," she sneered. "You're not taking my kids away from me." I stayed calm, refusing to engage in another argument. "Emily, this isn't just about us. It's about what's best for Noah and Lily. They need stability, and they need parents who are honest and present in their lives." She rolled her eyes and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I was ready to fight for my kids and for a better future without the constant lies and betrayal. In the weeks that followed, I focused on creating a loving and supportive environment for Noah and Lily. I spent as much time with them as possible, reassuring them that they were loved and that things would get better. It was a challenging and emotional time, but I was determined to come out of it stronger, for their sake and mine. I also began to take better care of myself. I joined a local gym to channel my stress into something positive. I even picked up my old guitar again, finding solace in music. These small acts of self-care helped rebuild my confidence and sense of self-worth, which had been eroded by Emily's betrayal. The kids and I developed new routines. We had pancake Sundays, movie nights, and even started a little vegetable garden on the balcony. These moments of normalcy and joy were vital for our healing process. Each smile, each laugh from Noah and Lily reinforced my resolve to provide them with the best life possible. Emily's behavior became more erratic as the divorce proceedings progressed. She oscillated between trying to win me back with empty promises and making bitter accusations. It was emotionally draining, but Susan's support and my focus on the kids kept me grounded. One evening, I found a note slipped under my door. It was from Emily, filled with accusations and threats about the custody battle. She claimed I was turning the kids against her, that I was the one who had ruined everything. The venom in her words was staggering. I kept the note as further evidence of her instability. Throughout this tumultuous period, my friends and family were invaluable. They offered support, advice, and shoulders to lean on. My parents, especially, were amazing with the kids, giving them extra love and attention to help fill the void left by their mother's absence. The decision to divorce and fight for custody had been the hardest of my life, but it was necessary. I could see the positive changes in Noah and Lily as they began to thrive in our new environment. Their resilience gave me strength, and I knew I had made the right choice. The road ahead was still uncertain, but I was ready to face whatever came next, armed with the knowledge that I was doing everything I could to protect and nurture my children. Things took an unexpected turn when Emily found out about the divorce filing. She became even more erratic and vindictive, seemingly bent on making my life a living hell. One evening, I received a strange call from one of Emily's friends, demanding a meeting. I knew that if I went to the designated place, my car would be blocked and I would have no chance of getting out easily. So I arranged the meeting at a location convenient for me, hid my car, reloaded my gun for protection, given the escalating tension, and walked into the room. To my surprise, it was not just one friend, but a group of Emily's friends who were there, all looking uncomfortable and out of place. Jessica, the one who had initially warned me, stepped forward and started talking. "John, we wanted to talk to you because things are getting out of hand." Emily's been saying some crazy stuff and we're worried about what she might do next, she said, looking genuinely concerned. What do you mean? I asked, feeling a knot form in my stomach. She's been talking about taking the kids and leaving town. She says you're abusive and that she needs to protect them from you, Jessica explained. I felt a surge of anger and disbelief. That's a lie. I've never laid a hand on her or the kids. She's the one who's been lying and cheating. We know, John. That's why we're here. We just thought you should know what she's planning, another friend chimed in. The room fell silent as I absorbed this new information. Emily was not only trying to ruin my life, but was also willing to use our kids as pawns in her twisted game. I thanked them for their honesty and left, my mind racing with thoughts of how to protect my children from her erratic behavior. The next few days were a blur of meetings with my lawyer and gathering as much evidence as possible. Emily's threats and accusations made it clear that this was going to be a nasty custody battle. I installed security cameras in the house to document any further erratic behavior on her part and kept a detailed journal of every interaction we had. Emily's behavior continued to spiral. She would come home late, drunk and belligerent, and pick fights over the smallest things. She even started telling the kids that I was trying to take them away from her, which only added to their confusion and anxiety. One night, she came home particularly late, reeking of alcohol and slurring her words. You think you can just take my kids away from me? She spat, swaying on her feet. You're a joke, John. A pathetic excuse for a husband and a father. I stood my ground, refusing to be baited into another argument. Emily, you need help. This isn't good for you, and it's definitely not good for the kids. Don't you dare tell me what I need, she screamed, throwing a glass against the wall where it shattered into pieces. I took a deep breath, trying to remain calm. This isn't just about us anymore. It's about Noah and Lily. They deserve better than this. She laughed bitterly and stumbled upstairs, leaving me to pick up the broken pieces of our shattered life. I knew that I had made the right decision to protect my kids, but the path ahead was going to be far more difficult than I had ever imagined. Realizing the gravity of the situation, I decided to apply for an emergency custody order. Susan guided me through the process, and we presented our case to the judge, detailing Emily's erratic behavior, the evidence from the security cameras, and the testimony from her friends. The judge, seeing the severity of the situation, granted the emergency custody order. I was awarded temporary full custody of Noah and Lily, and Emily was restricted to supervised visitation until she could prove she was stable. When I told Emily about the court's decision, she was livid. She accused me of manipulating the system and swore that she would get back at me, but there was a flicker of something else in her eyes, perhaps a realization of the consequences of her actions. In the days that followed, I moved the kids into my new apartment, ensuring it was a safe and welcoming space for them. They were understandably confused and upset, but I reassured them that this was for the best and that things would get better. I also took additional steps to protect myself and the kids. I changed all the locks, informed the school about the situation, and made sure the neighbors knew to keep an eye out for anything suspicious. It felt like living in a fortress, but it was necessary. Emily's supervised visits began, and although it was hard to see her struggling, I knew it was essential for her to face the consequences of her actions. During these visits, I noticed small changes in her. She seemed more subdued, perhaps beginning to realize the depth of the mess she had created. Despite the chaos, I found solace in my routine with the kids. We continued our pancake Sundays, movie nights, and gardening, finding moments of joy and normalcy amidst the turmoil. Each day I saw their smiles returning, and it strengthened my resolve to keep moving forward. Through therapy, I began to understand the dynamics that had led to this point. I learned to forgive myself for the mistakes I had made and to let go of the anger that had consumed me. It was a slow process, but with each step, I felt a little lighter, a little more hopeful. My support network remained a crucial part of my journey. Friends and family were there to offer advice, lend a listening ear, and provide a shoulder to lean on. Their unwavering support reminded me that I was not alone in this fight. As the weeks turned into months, the situation with Emily slowly stabilized. She continued her therapy, and there were signs that she was making progress. The court-mandated evaluations showed improvement, and there was talk of gradually increasing her visitation rights. For now, I remained focused on being the best father I could be, creating a safe and loving environment for Noah and Lily. The road ahead was still uncertain, but I knew that as long as we had each other, we could face whatever challenges came our way. The situation with Emily continued to deteriorate, and I knew I had to act quickly to protect Noah and Lily. I filed for an emergency custody hearing, presenting all the evidence I had gathered: the erratic behavior, the late nights out, and the recordings from the security cameras. Emily, predictably, was furious when she was served with the papers. She accused me of trying to ruin her life and vowed to fight me every step of the way. I remained focused on the goal, ensuring a safe and stable environment for our children. The day of the custody hearing was nerve-wracking. I walked into the courtroom with Susan by my side, feeling a mix of anxiety and determination. Emily was there too, with her own lawyer looking defiant and ready for a fight. The judge listened to both sides. Emily's lawyer painted me as a controlling and paranoid husband, trying to use the divorce to strip Emily of her rights. Emily cried on the stand, claiming I was abusive and that she feared for her safety and the safety of our kids. When it was my turn, I presented the evidence calmly and clearly. I showed the judge the text messages, photos, and videos that proved Emily's infidelity and erratic behavior. I also submitted the recordings from the security cameras and testimonies from Jessica and other friends who had witnessed Emily's behavior firsthand. The judge looked thoughtful as he reviewed the evidence. Mr. and Mrs. Carter, it's clear that this situation is highly contentious and emotionally charged. My primary concern is the well-being of Noah and Lily. Based on the evidence presented, I find that Mr. Carter has provided substantial proof of Mrs. Carter's instability and the potential harm to the children. Therefore, I am granting Mr. Carter temporary full custody pending a further psychological evaluation of Mrs. Carter. Emily exploded in rage, shouting accusations and insults as she was escorted out of the courtroom. I felt a mix of relief and sadness. This was not how I had envisioned our lives, but I knew it was the right decision for the kids. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of adjustment. I moved Noah and Lily into my new apartment, trying to create a sense of normalcy and routine for them. They were confused and scared, asking when they would see their mommy again. I tried to reassure them, explaining that mommy needed some time to get better and that they would see her soon. I also arranged for them to see a child psychologist, hoping to help them process their emotions and understand what was happening. It was heartbreaking to see them struggle, but I knew that with time and love, they would heal. Emily's psychological evaluation came back, confirming what I already knew. She was struggling with severe emotional and psychological issues that needed professional help. The court mandated therapy and supervised visitation with the kids, giving her a chance to prove she could be a stable and responsible parent. Throughout it all, I focused on being there for Noah and Lily, providing them with the love and support they needed. It wasn't easy, and there were days when I felt overwhelmed and exhausted, but I kept going for their sake. I also leaned on my support network, friends, family, and my lawyer, Susan, who had become more than just legal counsel. She was a confidant and a source of strength during this incredibly challenging time. The path ahead was still uncertain, but I felt more hopeful than I had in months. I was determined to create a better future for my kids, one filled with love, stability, and honesty. With the custody arrangement in place and Emily undergoing therapy, life started to settle into a new kind of normal. I focused on creating a stable, nurturing environment for Noah and Lily, pouring all my energy into being the best father I could be. It wasn't easy, but I was determined to make it work. Emily's supervised visitations were difficult for everyone. The kids were confused and sometimes upset after seeing her, struggling to understand why things had changed so drastically. I made sure to be there for them, answering their questions as honestly as I could without vilifying Emily. It was a delicate balance, trying to protect their relationship with their mother while also shielding them from her instability. One afternoon, after picking the kids up from a visit with Emily, Noah asked, "Daddy, why can't Mommy live with us anymore?" I took a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. Mommy is going through a tough time right now. She needs to get better so she can be the best mommy for you and Lily. It's not because she doesn't love you. She loves you very much. Lily, who had been quiet, hugged her stuffed bunny tightly and whispered, "Will she be better soon?" "I hope so, sweetheart," I replied, hugging her gently. "We all want Mommy to get better." As weeks turned into months, the kids began to adjust. We found a new rhythm, and I made sure to fill our days with positive experiences. We had movie nights, went to the park, and even started a little vegetable garden on the balcony of our apartment. These small moments of joy helped to mend the pieces of our fractured lives. I also took time to reflect on my own emotional journey. I went to therapy myself, working through the anger, hurt, and betrayal I felt. It was a long process, but it helped me to find clarity and strength. I learned to forgive myself for not seeing the signs sooner and for the mistakes I had made along the way. Emily's progress was slow but noticeable. She attended therapy sessions regularly, and during the supervised visits, she seemed more present and engaged with the kids. It gave me a sliver of hope that maybe one day we could co-parent effectively and provide a loving environment for Noah and Lily, even if we weren't together. One evening, as I was tucking the kids into bed, Noah looked up at me with his big, earnest eyes and said, "Daddy, you're the best dad in the world." Tears welled up in my eyes as I hugged him. "Thanks, buddy. I'm trying my best." Lily chimed in, "We love you, Daddy." In that moment, I realized that despite all the pain and upheaval, we were going to be okay. We had each other, and that was enough. Reflecting on this entire ordeal, I realized that life has a way of throwing us curveballs when we least expect them. Emily's betrayal was a harsh and painful wake-up call, but it also forced me to confront some uncomfortable truths and make changes that were long overdue. I learned the importance of paying attention to the signs and not ignoring my instincts. Looking back, there were so many red flags that I had dismissed, too afraid to face the possibility that my marriage was falling apart. Ignorance may feel like bliss, but it only delays the inevitable. I also discovered the strength within myself to navigate through this storm. It wasn't easy, and there were many moments when I felt like giving up, but I kept going for the sake of my children. They became my anchor, giving me a reason to push forward even when things seemed hopeless. If I could offer any advice to others in similar situations, it would be this: trust your gut and don't be afraid to seek help. Whether it's from friends, family, or professionals, having a support system is crucial. Don't suffer in silence or try to handle everything on your own. And most importantly, always prioritize the well-being of your children. They are innocent bystanders in these situations and need love, stability, and reassurance. As for Emily, I hope she finds the help she needs and can one day be the mother Noah and Lily deserve. Our paths have diverged, but we will always be connected through our children. I hold no more bitterness or anger, only a hope that she can heal and move forward. For now, I'm focused on rebuilding my life and creating a happy, healthy future for myself and my kids. It's a long road, but I'm walking it with my head held high, knowing that I've done everything I can to protect and love them. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read my story and offer advice. Your support has meant more to me than you'll ever know. If you're going through something similar, know that you're not alone, and you have the strength to get through it. Keep fighting, keep believing, and never lose sight of what truly matters. Take care, everyone. After winning temporary custody and setting things in motion for a better future for Noah and Lily, life began to stabilize. Emily continued her therapy and had supervised visits with the kids. I focused on being the best father I could be, ensuring that our home was a sanctuary for them amidst the chaos. Over the next several months, we developed a new routine. The kids adapted remarkably well, showing resilience that often left me in awe. Their smiles and laughter were the driving force behind my determination to keep moving forward. We celebrated small victories, like Lily learning to ride her bike and Noah excelling in his school projects. One afternoon, as I watched the kids play in the park, I received a call from Susan, my lawyer. She informed me that Emily had completed her court-mandated therapy and that her therapist believed she was stable enough for unsupervised visits. Although this news filled me with anxiety, I also felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe, just maybe, Emily was on the path to becoming a better mother. We arranged a meeting to discuss the new visitation schedule. Emily seemed calmer, more grounded, and for the first time in a long while I saw a glimpse of the woman I had once loved. She expressed genuine remorse for her actions and acknowledged the pain she had caused. While I couldn't forget what she had done, I found it in my heart to forgive her for the sake of our children. We agreed on a gradual reintroduction of unsupervised visits, starting with short outings and working up to longer stays. The kids were thrilled to spend more time with their mother, and I was cautiously optimistic that this arrangement would work out. During this period, I continued to work on myself. Therapy helped me process the betrayal and the subsequent upheaval in my life. I learned to let go of the anger and resentment, focusing instead on creating a positive future for my family. I also reconnected with old friends and made new ones, building a support network that I could rely on. As Emily's visits with the kids increased, I started to find moments of peace and even joy. I rediscovered hobbies that I had neglected during the turmoil, like playing the guitar and hiking. These activities provided a much-needed outlet for my emotions and a reminder that life could still be beautiful. One evening, as I sat on the porch watching the sunset, Noah came and sat beside me. He leaned his head on my shoulder and said, "Daddy, I'm really happy we're all getting along better now." His words brought tears to my eyes. Me too, buddy. Me too. The path ahead was still uncertain, but I felt a newfound sense of hope. Emily and I would never be the same, but we could co-parent amicably and provide a loving environment for our children. The experience had taught me invaluable lessons about resilience, forgiveness, and the importance of surrounding oneself with supportive people. In the end, I emerged stronger, not just for myself, but for Noah and Lily. We had weathered the storm together, and though the scars remained, they served as a testament to our strength and perseverance. To anyone out there going through a similar situation, know that you are not alone. It's a tough journey, but you have the strength to get through it. Lean on those who care about you. Seek professional help when needed, and never lose sight of the love you have for your children. There is light at the end of the tunnel, and with time, patience, and effort, you can rebuild and find happiness again.